What does it take to be a successful entrepreneur? A dangerous amount of coffee and a ton of grit. My name is Jason Tracy, and every week I interview business leaders to share their stories, life lessons, failures, and advice with you. Welcome to Coffee and Grit. What is up? What is up? What is up? Welcome back to another episode of Coffee and Grit, and I'm super excited. I've had this one on the calendar for quite a few months now, and it's really cool. We've been doing some different episodes lately, and this is the first under 18 person I've had that started a business and is out there crushing it. And I'm super excited to really get into that story. But we've had entrepreneurs of all kinds of ages across the board, and to see a young person going out forming a business while still in high school and figuring out how to really serve people. So cool over this weekend. It was just yesterday morning, I was flipping through Facebook. In one of the local groups, somebody was shouting out Lincoln in his company and his auto detailing. And it was like so awesome. So exciting. I have him on the podcast tomorrow. So it's cool. We're going to talk a lot about how to grow business, how to take care of people, and what it's like being 16, 17 years old and starting a business. So Lincoln, man, welcome to the studio.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
That's my pleasure, man. So, man, how did you get started?
So, it was a little bit of a curveball, I should say. My dad, he owns Motor City in Garrett's. He asked me to clean all of his company cars, company trucks, work vehicles. So I started it just cleaning them. He was like, I'll give you $100 a week to clean 7 of them, which now that's not. That's
now you'd be like insulted.
Yeah, no, thank you. But so I started cleaning them. It just took a minute to really understand everything. I started out using a little vent brush on like the whole car. I didn't have much, so I just started that out, and then I started seeing videos on YouTube, TikTok, social media, people making businesses, and I looked up the how much money you can really make, and there's a ton of money in detailing. So I was like, okay, maybe I should post in some local group chats. So I posted. I think it was how happenings. I had like 50 people comment saying they wanted their cars done, and at the time I was a sophomore, halfway through my sophomore year. So they just contacted me. I think the first ever client, I actually went over to her house the other day to give her a quote on her fifth wheel horse trailer, a wash and wax. So she contacted me and she was like, okay, I want my farm truck done. So I was like, okay. I didn't ask for pictures, nothing. Had her drop it off because I was 15, couldn't drive. So I had her drop it off, and I charged her $50 for the interior. I think it took me like 4 hours, losing my ass on it.
Yeah.
But I eventually started building my equipment, chemicals, all of that, just kind of forming it into like a little side hustle, I guess you could say. And then it kind of just took off from there. I did a lady's car. I think she was my second client. Crazy amounts of pet hair in it, and pet hair is the worst. Crazy amounts. So I think that I charged her like $95, right? It took me 7 hours to do it. It was just horrid, but it showed me what I needed to learn, what I needed to invest my time into to really create the proper business and go from there.
I love that, because I think people will want to start a business, and they instead of going out and starting it and just doing it and learning from there, you'll see them like stand and wait for everything to be perfect, or like they're trying to make sure they know everything.
Yeah. The other day I had a kid. I had 2 cars. One had pet hair in it, so it took me a lot longer than expected. I asked him if he could help me because he lived right down the road from me. I was like, okay, you have a little bit of experience. I'll pay you $15 an hour to help me. Well, no, thank you. Well, what do you mean, no, thank you? You were just posting in How Happenings that you have no business and you need help advertising and all this. And I was just like mind blown. I'm like, you could take that money, invest it into your equipment and stuff, but you're not. You're being lazy. You can't start a business and then putz your way a little bit through it and then just stop. It's either you give it your all or you don't even create a business at all. So it's just mind blowing.
I love your mindset because it is mind blowing, but at the same time, like, again, we're talking about like, I'll see so many adults that are that same exact way. Mm-hmm. And you're talking about kids of your own age. So first off, so awesome because you're so far ahead of that curve and you see that opportunity.
Yeah, I even seen it in grown adults. I mean, sometimes I'll be slow and I'll be like, man, I'm slow, but I see my dad's podcast, Prepare to Deliver.
Yep.
So I did that the other day, and I made sure all my equipment was good, all my chemicals were refilled, just, the whole 9 yards, making sure that when I did end up getting busy, I was ready to roll. So I started picking up again, and then I'm ready to roll. They just don't find proper way to use their time efficiently. They just post, they do 1 or 2 cars, and then they call it good. It's not for me.
But I think I get it that you take this a lot more seriously than just like some side hustle.
Right, yeah. So on my paper, I was going to talk about, I put $2,000 down in registration to register my business. I think it was when I had a company contact me right down from Motor City, Pilot Transportation. They have about a fleet of 100 semis. So they call me when they please, when they want their semis detailed, just interior. So I had to register my business and turn it into an actual business side hustle because they only could pay in credit cards. So I got in contact with my dad's lawyer, paid the $2,000. I was like, man, that's a lot of money, just took the risk, risked it all. And then I got involved with my dad's insurance agency. I own 90% of the business. My dad owns 10% of the business because I'm under the age of 18.
Okay.
So that was definitely a little bit different, but right now we're smooth sailing.
Is that a state law?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we kind of figured it out. At first, I think I was 95% owner and then 5% owner, but something with the insurance, I had to make my dad 10%, or else I wouldn't be able to get workers' comp. I have an employee, so I just wanted to make sure we had it all set up and we were in the clear. So
how's that? How's that bringing on an employee? How long have you had them?
He's been my friend since I moved to Howe. I lived in Commerce. I've known him for a while. He's a great worker. He's quiet. He doesn't really talk. So you just tell him something to do. He does it. It's not like it's any like he argues or nothing like that. So great worker. Overall great kid.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Like, so you knew him, you have good friends and everything. So it was a little bit easier when you come on and kind of that relationship piece and everything.
Yeah. It was a lot easier to get to know him and, just chemistry, I guess you could say. Just a lot easier than hiring somebody that I don't really know and teaching them when I know his ins and outs. So
yeah, again, because I love this because again, I watch so many adults that struggle as they have to now bring on an employee, or then you bring them on, and what do you do with them? How do you delegate? How do you get them to do their job? How do you communicate? And so I love this conversation from that aspect of 16, 17 years old, growing a business. Like how many 17-year-olds have a business that have an employee? Because usually it is a side gig. Right.
Yeah, most definitely. So it's been going great. No complaints. He's a little bit busy just because of baseball. Me and him play baseball, but I have to sacrifice my time a little bit. Actually, a lot more than he does, But no complaints. Just gotta grind and push through it. So.
What's your goal with this? What do you want to be doing?
So my goal, I talked to my dad. I want to end up owning Motor City, and my next year, my senior year of high school, there's a thing called co-op. I'm not familiar.
Yep.
Are you familiar with that? Okay.
Yep.
So it's called co-op. I'm gonna do 3 hours working at the body shop to get a little bit more experience doing paint corrections, ceramic coatings. More of the higher end tickets of detailing. So I want to end up molding Motor City into like a one-stop shop. Like we do it all, like PPF, ceramic coatings, paint, like everything, detailing, body work, and then see where it goes from there. It probably won't be my first business, or it will be my first business, but not my last.
It's so cool that thought process of even taking like what you're doing now and bringing that aspect into the business.
Yeah. So, I remember when I was first starting out, I went to Home Depot. I bought a $400, 3,200 PSI Ryobi gas pressure washer. You don't need that. I came to realization that you don't need that much of PSI. You just need like 1,800. So at first I was like, Dad, I need to get an electric pressure washer. I'm telling you, you need one. No, you stick with gas. Electric's gonna give out on you. So he talked to a guy down in, I believe it was Wixom, that owns a company, and he talked to him about electric pressure washers because he owns a business that does commercial pressure washing. So they use, higher grade PSI and electric pressure washers and gas pressure washers and the whole 9 yards. So at first he talked to him and the guy was like, yeah, it's a great idea. Your son's right. And so what happened with the gas pressure washer is there's no bypass on the gas pressure washer. So when you pull the trigger and then let's say I'm cleaning a wheel and I'm letting it run, right? The water starts to boil it goes through the bypass, starts to boil, and the water ends up evaporating, creating air in the gas pressure washer. There's no bypass around the gas pressure washer. With the electric pressure washers, it's on command. So it shuts off. Then when you need water, you press the trigger. Gas is always running.
Yep.
So he ended up realizing that, and he was like, all right, just go buy, a cheap Ryobi 1800 pressure washer. So I used that for about a month. Then it ended up giving out on me. So I invested into a more trustworthy brand, or not trustworthy brand, more known for detailing, I guess you could say, just putting more hours on the pressure washer.
Yeah.
So I think I've had this one for about 7 months and it's been going great so far. So it's just, trial and error.
I was gonna say it's a trial and error process of figuring
That's
out
how
your
my
equipment.
whole business has been. We first started, my dad gave me a trailer. It was a red trailer. When I was 15, I had my first kind of, I guess you could say, company contact me. My mom's friend, she works for a company that does worms down in Waterford.
Okay.
I believe it was 3 or 4 people there wanted me to do their cars. I couldn't drive. So my dad wanted to see me succeed. So he drove from Howell all the way down to Waterford with the trailer attached, dropped the trailer off, and then drove to Farmington for the day. So I remember I was like, all right, I could probably do 2 or 3 cars, I got done with one in one day because it was bad. I was like, Dad, I kind of need to go back next day. And he was like, all right, we'll do it. So he's definitely helped me out a lot on the way. We ended up, trial and error, doing my water tank setup. We started with just like a barrel, and we modified it. We plumbed it, used a dipstick to pull the water out from the bottom of the barrel because there was no spigot on it. And then I ended up getting an industrial water tank that's like 250 gallons. Only filled it up like 1/4 of the way. But that just trial and error, just testing out things, testing out equipment. It definitely has been easy, obviously, but it hasn't been too hard where I just want to quit. I just, got to keep going, got to keep grinding. And then, yeah.
It's so cool. It's fun to hear, as you're learning and adjusting and figuring out the best way to go about it.
Right. Yeah. So when I ended up turning 16, I got a 2018 Chevy Colorado. Great first truck. Loved it. The only thing that was bad about it was the gas mileage. Pulling that water around, water weighs so much.
Yeah.
Plus my equipment in that trailer. So I had to just push through it, kind of just keep on paying in gas, wait till I saved up enough money, and then I ended up paying everything off, like all my equipment, all of that, just making sure I had enough funds to be able to reinvest. I took all my money when I first started making it, and I didn't pay myself anything. I reinvested everything into my business, getting more equipment, supplies, all of that. So once I ended up selling the Colorado after a year and a half, is when I bought my Denali, my 3-liter. Well, I didn't buy it, but my dad helped me buy it. I pay him roughly around $500 each month.
Uh-huh.
He's definitely helped me. We took my Colorado, and I think Kelley Blue Book said that they would give us 17 and some change. So we kept looking around, we could get more for it. Then we came across Carvana. They said they'd give us $20,000, and I was kind of shocked. Me and him were like, damn, $20,000. So we ended up selling it to them. I took that money, put it down on my Denali, and then now I have my Denali, which is great on gas mileage, way better. I think I have to fill up once in like a week and a half.
Oh, that's killer.
So I remember when I was driving my Colorado, I had to go out towards Lansing to do one single truck, and I was pulling. He wanted the exterior done. So I was pulling my industrial water tank, filled up probably about halfway because it was a Denali. It was an old Denali, so it was a lot bigger than just a normal car. So I was pulling around that heavy water tank. I think I used half a tank to get there and back.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh, God damn.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, just having that Denali is lifesaver.
The things you don't think about, right? Until all of a sudden you have a situation like this, and it's like the gas mileage is killing me and taking my profit down.
Exactly, but you just gotta just keep going. Just find your groove, I guess you could say.
I love it because we've, for those that haven't put it together yet, if you're a regular listener to the show, Kevin Brown, Lincoln's dad, has been on the show 3 times now. And one of the things we've talked about a lot is like knowing numbers, figuring out numbers, and again, so many business owners do not look at those specific things or even think about that gas mileage being part of your costs.
Right. Yeah. Me and him sat down one time and figured out how much it cost on each vehicle, how much, chemicals I spray, how much it costs per vehicle, and what my profit is. My prices when I first started out, they slowly got more and more expensive. And I knew my value. I understood my value, so it got better. And I think I want to say my max I charged when I was like probably a year into the business was $285. Now I've upped my prices, and I was like, man, I don't know if I can up my prices. People are gonna, not pay for my services. But I realized that when you up your prices, you contact and find more people that value your services. So I upped my prices, and I was shocked how many people have contacted me. Getting that higher clientele that actually value your services. So that was another big thing that really changed my business.
It's getting over that limiting belief of I can't raise my prices.
Right, exactly. I didn't understand, me being 16, I didn't really understand the prices, just money. And so my dad's definitely helped me a lot on the way. I'm very grateful for him, him knowing business, and, just it's amazing.
Well, it's huge, and I want to say this because there's some people that may be listening, being like, oh, you've had a lot of help from your dad and stuff like that. A couple things. One, you're so coachable in the sense of listening,
right?
Because there are a lot of people that probably have dads that have had success in doing different things and don't listen to the things that they're saying, and so you've been able to listen and learn from a lot of what he's doing, but also being able to take and learn these lessons and then upscale your stuff, taking care of your clients and continuing to grow your business. That's a must. It's a must.
Yeah. I realized that probably when I was halfway through 16 that customer satisfaction was a big role. So I ended up changing my business motto. Instead of texting people, I started calling them to close more sales, because it's a lot easier to talk to people on the phone and get a sale closed instead of text when you don't see the read recipient or them read it on Facebook, or you see them read it and they don't respond. So it's a lot easier, because if they hang up, they're like, okay, that's too much. But they kind of have to give you an answer when you're on the phone or in person.
Yep.
So that definitely changed my business. I ended up, not too long ago, taking a risk and investing into a coach in Tampa, Florida. He owns a detailing business, a shop. It's called Organic Lead Flow. So you don't spend no money on ads. You do organic outreach, Instagram outreach, cold calling, all that. So I do $1,300 a month to him. And I was like, well, I may be stupid, but at least I took the risk and tried it out, and now I know if it works or not. I made my money back in 2 days.
Wow.
So I took that risk. Everybody was like, my girlfriend was like, you just made an impulsive decision. And I was like, yeah, you're probably right. But I mean, I got to take risks. I got to be willing to sacrifice to gain. So.
And what better time to sacrifice than now?
When I'm young, yeah. I don't have any grocery bills, no house bills, no nothing.
Yep.
It's perfect timing. So,
well, and I love that, because you were talking about earlier about how you were able to take and not pay yourself, and you could put it back into the business and grow. And that was my thought in my head, is like, oh my God, that's so awesome that you're in a position in your life where you can legit grow a business, go through and fail and, do these things and not have a whole bunch of expenses. You don't have a family and kids and a mortgage payment and all that stuff.
Right. Yeah. So when I had my trailer and when I went to that job in Lansing, I came down a dirt road and didn't have, I think my dad told me
Yes,
this.
I was going to say, I was waiting for the story to pop up. Yeah.
Yeah, so I didn't have my latches latched and my door kept going down and my neighbor called me and he was like, hey, your door is halfway down going down Latson. And I was like, oh. So I took a look and it was just demolished, which sucked. But I was like, I didn't even care about the trailer. I was like, okay, yeah, I could get it fixed, right? I was more worried about what my dad was going to say.
Yeah.
So he came out there and he was like, well, you messed up. And I was like, what? You usually like yell and scream, what the hell? Like, I was like just shocked. And I was like, okay, let's get it fixed and keep going. So I've definitely had my step backs, but you gotta be willing to have your step backs to succeed. And it's not easy. People think it's so easy. They see Instagram, they see Facebook, all these people posting, oh, look at my $1 million watch, my $1 million car, but they don't see the struggles of the business owners. So that's something that I feel like nowadays most kids have to really realize is they see, like I said, all these people posting their wins, but not their losses.
Yeah, you're right. People aren't posting the losses, and they'll make it look easy. And then a lot of times too, you don't realize those people that are now making it that you're looking at, how much work and struggle and time they had to put in order to get it to here.
Right. Yeah, it's just, I feel like social media has kind of ruined my generation. Just in general, even not even talking about business, it's just ruined my generation. So I'm glad. I was lazy 2 years ago, really lazy. I used to play Fortnite all the time, and and then I was like, really realized like I gotta do something. So before my business, my detailing business, I tried to start a clothing brand. It failed horribly, but I definitely learned. I mean, when you fail, you learn. So it's not like you're really failing.
Yeah.
You're learning stuff that you need to know in order to scale your business and create a business.
You're learning lessons that help you later on in life in all kinds of different situations.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. So, the problem right now is I just can't learn fast enough. That's my biggest challenge is I just don't know. Like, I want to get into paint corrections, doing paint corrections on cars, RVs, boats, but I can't learn fast enough. So I just kind of stick with just detailing right now.
Okay.
So, I mean, I'm booking like crazy. Just want to get into those more high ticket services to really upscale my business a little bit more.
So that's interesting. So like you talk about like that prepare to deliver. It's like almost like because you're probably this is probably your busier season.
Yes. Yeah. I think I wrestle in the winter season, so it's a little bit slower. I do my services at a discounted rate just because most people don't care about their cars in the winter.
Yeah.
So we definitely did that.
The really nice cars aren't hitting the road.
Right. The really nice cars are usually transported or that's transported to shops, minimal driving on the roads, just stuff like that. So For me, yeah. I ended up realizing that this summer. I was like, well, maybe I can just go buy some junk parts from the junkyard, and go practice on those in the winter, get a ton of experience, do that, and really invest my time into that in the winter after I'm done wrestling.
That's a really good idea.
So I'm not, preparing to deliver.
Yeah.
You do it in the winter, and then when your busier season comes around, you have experience in it when you can actually start preparing. So
there are so many things that we just talked about in the last like 7 minutes, or that you've talked about, that I want to recap, because no matter how old you are in your business, like these are the things that'll make you successful. Doing the phone calls. I talk about this all the time. Doing the phone calls versus sending a message. I'll use messages to set up a phone call.
Right,
I'll be like, hey, are you available
definitely
tomorrow to whatever? But like just picking up the phone and dialing and calling, you get so much. You have them on the phone. You
Right.
get either a no or a yes or a whatever. You can tell their emotions a lot better versus wondering what's happening on that Facebook message. You see they read it. There's no response. Now you're in their head. Was it too expensive? Was it you're creating all the excuses in your head versus you call them and you have an answer real quick.
Right. When you text somebody and when you text somebody, you never know how the sender is sending it, how they mean it. They could sound rude, they could sound
Yeah.
happy. So it's a lot easier to call somebody and really figure out what their emotions are, what what services they want. Well, maybe that's a little too much. Well, just really understanding their emotions rather than texting is a lot better, especially even in person.
Huge.
I would say in-person selling is way better than phone call because you can actually see their facial expression.
And this is actual stats, right? And like there's a whole thing like the elements of communication. Like when you're just sending a message, you're not seeing their body language, you're not hearing their tonality. Like we make our decisions on people based off of tonality, expression, the words that actually come out of our mouth. But like the words that come out of our mouth are actually like 10% of the way that we judge and like make decisions on people. The majority of it is tonality and facial expressions.
Yeah, that's like I said, that's a big thing that's just honestly changed my business in a whole aspect.
Yeah.
So
it puts control on. You have more control.
right.
Because even if you get a no, you can follow up with a question.
Right. Yeah, that's one thing my coach has told me is you always want to follow up with a question. Even if you're setting up texting to set up a phone call, you always want to end with a question just so you can get them to respond.
Yep.
Then, you start working, getting their phone number, then you give them the call.
Yep. Yeah, it's just keeping that dialogue going.
Yeah, he told me the biggest thing is creating trust and credibility, and I didn't realize that at first. I knew the trust, but not the credibility. So I restructured my Instagram page like you showed us, and people are like, "Oh, you're only 16. Wow, I want to use your services. Want to help a local business out, rather than using people in the 20s, 30s.
Yeah.
So that's something that's really helped me a lot.
It's so awesome. It's so awesome. Again, there's a lot of limiting beliefs that people can have. And there are people that could be like, oh, I'm too young. Nobody's ever going to use my services or they're going to look down on me. I know when I first got into sales, I looked at like, oh, I'm young. Like if I was only older, they'd respect me more. So there's like a lot of limiting beliefs I had. You're like, I'm actually getting more business because I'm young and they want to support me. And it's all that mindset.
Yeah.
We talked about the phone calls. The other thing I wanted to address is because again, I love this maturity mentality that you have because this is people across every age should be listening to this. And it's like making the phone calls. And then you're like, I went and I got a coach and I paid the money. I paid the $1,300. Your girlfriend's like, oh my God, that's an impulse decision. But you went out and you did it because you wanted to grow. And then you're like, I went and did the stuff and I got my money back. I made my money back in 2 days.
Right. Yeah. It's just I was kind of shocked at first, but then I was like, well, you're gonna have losses. You're gonna invest in stuff that's not gonna make you any money, but it's all a part of growing your business.
Yeah.
You have to risk.
Yep.
So I took the risk, invested in him, and I joined a network of other detailers across the United States. So just from that, the networking alone is worth the $1,300. You learn like what's the best equipment, best chemicals, what's like the proper way to address like a situation on a car like tar, tar and rust particles. Finding the right chemicals and just connecting with everybody, and you create trust and credibility with all your customers, connecting with them, doing outreaches, calling them. I've had numerous people I've texted, realtors. Oh yeah, a bunch of people are looking. All my clients are looking for detailing. And I'm like, okay, well, a bunch of my clients are looking for realtors, So just creating that trust and credibility with the people you reach to is a must, because if you have no trust and credibility and you contact somebody, they're like, well, who is this? I don't want to trust you. I don't know you.
Yep.
So just creating small talk and, like I said, creating trust and credibility is a big key.
And again, you're calling adults like real estate agents, right? And building this relationship over the phone.
Yeah. I had a guy who reached out. He sells like $1 million homes. Talked to him on Instagram. I don't care about my age. I talk to people like I know what I'm talking about. And I do know what I'm talking about.
Yep. Age doesn't matter.
Yeah, no, I
keep saying the age thing because I think some people as they're listening is like blown away.
Yeah. I've had people in my school like, well, have you had any, like last year I had a kid, he was like, well, have you had anybody that you don't know use your services? And I'm like thinking to myself, I don't want to listen to you. You work at Subway, don't talk to me. Like, it's just, I don't take advice from broke people. I take advice from people that actually know what they're doing and invested their time like I'm going to invest my time.
1,000%. There's so many gold nuggets in here, man. I love that. I have a friend that he started a clothing line actually when we were younger, and he had like this whole thing. It was like we ask our broke friends that work at McDonald's for relationship advice. You know, like
right, yeah,
like,
exactly. You don't do that. So just investing my time watching YouTube videos. That was a big thing. Watching YouTube videos, you know, learning the proper techniques, the proper chemicals, equipment. That was a must that I really had to spend time into investing. And I didn't really go do much. I didn't go to parties. I didn't go spend time with friends, you know, go golfing. None of that. I invested my time, and it's my investment has came back so far. So that's.
Do you read very much?
Read? No.
All right. So, at some point you will. I know you will. And it's not like reading the books that you're talking about, like in high school, right? Because we talked about school before this, and I know, you know, me and your dad have had conversations about it and stuff like that. Obviously, you're on a different path, and we can see you're learning, and you're like putting yourself. It's not about school, but you're putting yourself in position to be around really successful people and learn and grow from them, and that's putting you on a different trajectory. But there's this book I highly recommend at some point reading. It's called The Outliers by Malcolm Gladwell, and it's just a study of successful people, and there's like these crucial elements for people that some of it's luck. Some of it, but most of it is being at the right, meeting the people, having the circumstances, that kind of thing. And like, for example, Bill Gates, it talks about Bill Gates and like does a study of him. And Bill Gates, when he was in high school, you know, this is like the late 60s, was in a private high school where there was access to a computer that he could spend as many hours and have as much access to that computer as he wanted to. And so Bill Gates would go to school, work in that computer lab instead of going to his classes, and then after school would stay in the computer lab and just learn how to program it over and over and over again. By the time he got out of high school, he was the leading computer programmer in the whole entire world.
Exactly. Just
by the time he got out of high school.
Yep. Investing your time gets you God knows where. It's great. You got to invest your time to be willing to succeed and get to that next step.
Yep.
So,
and obviously he's Bill Gates.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Bill Gates. I mean,
but it was that time. It was like in the book, it was talking about the time that we put into things, like the Beatles, for example, the band The Beatles. Like they perfected their everything through just countless hours of playing music in this rundown bar. Like they played for hours in this bar, and it gave them time to like perfect and practice. And like they were on another level. When you're putting in that many hours into your craft, when you're putting that many hours. Think of like the other people. It's like Kobe Bryant, right? Kobe Bryant would wake up at 4 a.m, get a workout in because he would get an extra workout in, one extra workout than everybody else, you know, just because of the time that he woke up. And what you're doing right now is you're putting in that time and learning and that growth, and it's going to be so exponential. By the time you're out of high school, you're going to look back at the people that you're going to school with, and it's going to be, the playing field is going to be like this.
Yep, exactly. I mean, my girlfriend, Mia, I've known her for a while, since I've been in I think it was first grade. Whenever I have a client call and I'm with her, I always answer it because that's my paycheck calling.
Yep.
So she gets upset, but I tell her, you got to understand that that's my paycheck calling. I have to answer these calls, these texts, you know, just invest my time. And she's starting to understand that, you know. Me and my dad have a joke with her. If she ends up ever dating somebody else, she's gonna be like, because me and her go out to eat a lot. So if she ever ends up dating somebody else, she's gonna be like, "You only have $15? What do you want to go to McDonald's?" Like, so just investing my time is a big thing to any business. It doesn't even have to be detailing, just any business. You know?
How does that feel though? Like that's really cool. Like you're kind of spoiling her. And
she's great. So
that's awesome. I love it. And you've mentioned the sacrifices a couple times. You know, being young and sacrificing the parties or the different things. And I remember seeing Barry Sanders speak. And Barry Sanders was talking about like he didn't go to the parties, he didn't do the things. He was always lifting weights, running bleachers. He was doing the things that made him a better football player. Like, and in looking back at it, he was like, when I saw him speak, he was like looking back at it, all those sacrifices were worth it because it got me here.
Right.
You know, everybody, all my friends would always be like, oh, you're not going to go and have any fun. You're not going to do any of this. He was like, but I don't regret 1 minute of that.
Right. Yeah. No, I think I seen a post yesterday. It was a lady. You know how you get those like local group chat, like you're not in them, but they pop up.
Yep.
There was a lady that she was driving. She was getting out of high school. She was driving like a 2006 Honda. I think it was a Pilot or something. All of her friends had the nice cars, right? She ended up saving and just using that car instead of having the nicer things, and she ended up saving a ton of money rather than spending it on the nice cars and nice watches, all that. So I was like, wow, it's
huge. I remember one of my big mentors talked about like how his brother went to college and he didn't. And he was like, my brother went to college. He spent like 60 grand in college. So he's 60 grand in debt there. And he was like, and he's going to school. So he's going to school. He's doing all the school stuff. He was like, I got out of high school and I went and worked.
Right.
And I got promoted through leadership. And I was able to then get to a point where I took over and he owned a business, right? And was able to grow this business. And it was like, by time his brother graduated from college, he was $60,000 in savings. His brother was $60,000 in debt, and he was like, "There's a $120,000 swing there. Plus, I have all this experience that he was able to then take his career to another level."
Yeah, I think with college, you have to. If you're gonna go into college, you have to be. It has to be something that you're gonna make your money back. If you have, if you're going to be a doctor, you have to go to be a doctor. You can't half-ass it.
Yeah.
I think going to college for athletics, if you're really good at it, great. But if you're going to just have fun, I mean, you gotta have a backup plan. I see people all the time go to college and then come out and have nothing, and they have that. Like all my teachers, they talk about all the time how they have debt. Well, are you going to college? No, I'm not going to college. Well, why aren't you going to college? Because I don't want to be like you. I don't want to be a teacher that has debt. So I mean, you gotta look at it from both aspects. It's a big thing.
That's a big thing. That's huge. At what point did you start thinking like this?
Probably end of 14, turning 15.
You said back when you were lazy. I'm like,
I was lazy. Yeah. I
I
remember there was a story me and my dad tell all the time. It was winter time, I was playing Fortnite downstairs. He asked me to go do something with a mule. It's a Kawasaki mule. I'm not sure if you guys are familiar. Kawasaki mule, he told me to go move it or something. Well, I was in the middle of a game. Went and did it, left the battery on for I think 6 or 8 hours. He got home, couldn't turn it over. I got my ass chewed out because I was playing Fortnite. We started like something about how I ride the treadmill to earn like video game times, just, and I don't know. Something just in me just clicked where I was like, well, I don't want to be like this forever. I got to figure out something. So I just started investing my time. Like I said, I created a clothing brand. People made fun of me for doing it.
Yeah.
But I tried it out, and now it didn't work out. And then I tried a different business, and it ended up working out. So, I mean, people will always make fun of you for if you want to create a business, but you're just testing out waters. You're just, like you said, no better time to figure it out and invest your time when you're young.
Yeah.
You have nothing to pay.
Yeah.
So.
Oh my God. Again, you're going to be light years ahead because you're going through and you're testing and doing all the stuff now.
Right. Yeah. One of my clients, Kurt, he lives in Brighton. He knows my dad really well. I think I've had him on like a monthly plan for his C8 Corvette. He contacted me the other day. He said, I like you so much, Lincoln. You're like a spitting image of your dad. I want to redesign your whole trailer for free. So I was like, wow, like just, customer satisfaction.
Yep.
You gotta treat them right and they'll treat you right.
Yep.
So I have tons of customers on biweekly, weekly, monthly, 3-month plans, just figuring out what works best for you and figuring out the customer satisfaction.
It's huge. It's huge. And I love how there's another book called The Alchemist. And it talks about like when you go and you're pursuing your destiny, your passion, that the world opens up to conspire to give you what you want, to give you what you're looking for.
Exactly.
And that's that case. You're going out and you're doing your thing and someone sees you working hard and is like, I want to help you.
Right. Yeah. People post all the time in the local group chats, like you said, one in Brighton.
Yeah.
I figured out that posting in local group chats, like reviews, building my SEO and my Google and getting reviews is a must because I'll pop up higher. But I came to realization that that's as good as getting local reviews in local groups. So I started asking my customers, well, I'll give you 15% off if you leave a Google review and review in a local group saying that I did a great job.
That's huge.
So I had a guy contact me. His name's Don. He contacted me. He has like a Lincoln, I don't know if I pronounced this right. It's like a Naturalist or something like that. A Dodge Viper, a motorhome, 3 F-150s, 2 F-150s, and 3 like F-350s. And I was like, wow. Like that just goes to show that if you post in local groups, there will be people that will, maybe not contact you right away, but will save your information.
Oh, 5,000%. And it's again another genius bomb that you just dropped there, because you could post all day about how great you are. You can go in those groups and you can post, I do auto detailing and stuff like that, and you could get hits and you could get business. So you might, you probably will get something out of it. But when somebody else goes in there, that comment yesterday, I saw it and I'm like, oh my God, that's Lincoln. That's so awesome. And then when I went in there were so many people that were commenting, I use Lincoln too.
Yep.
He's awesome. There were so many people. And then there were people that were like, I'm going to call him. Like
trust and credibility.
Trust and credibility. All of a sudden now you generated a post that, like, again, it's getting that momentum.
Right. Yeah. So that's one big thing I realized is posting in local groups. That's a big thing that driven my business. So.
And I love how you're getting other people to do it.
Yeah. I mean, just figuring out a way that I can create more of like an automatic business where I can focus more on posting social media and stuff.
Yep.
While other people generate leads for me. So.
Yes. Yeah. It gives other people do the work for you. So I was talking about at the beginning is like the podcast at the beginning is like, how do I, as I'm coming out of the business world, nobody knows who I am. How do I get bigger? How do I expand my influence or get a bigger network of people? I create content with other people that have groups.
Right.
You know, I just had the Darlene's on who own Crosswinds Aviation's out of Howell in their post like went crazy. Like, it's got a ton of views and stuff like that. And because they have a good following and people love their story and they're really successful people. Have you ever met them?
I don't think I have, no.
Oh, it's super, like they're just amazing people. We talked about law of attraction and making declarations and all that kind of stuff. Like just awesome stuff.
Yeah, there's awesome people out there. I think the biggest thing I didn't realize because we live in Michigan, right?
Yep.
There's a bunch of more high populated areas like Florida, California, people that drive like more expensive cars, Lamborghinis, all that. That's a lot easier to find those customers when you're doing services, stuff that like, detailing, working on their cars. It's a lot easier. Well, now we're in Michigan. Rams, F-150s, more of your basic cars. The hardest part for me has just been finding those people, those more wealthy people, those more high powered people, and just finding those people.
Yep. Finding the people with like all the Lambos and the.
Yeah, I'd seen a Ferrari driving around like in Howell on Grand River, Howell and Brighton. I was like, wow, there's a Ferrari around here. Like, you just gotta find the people. That's you just gotta market your stuff right.
Come down on a Friday night in Brighton.
Yeah.
The streets are lined up with just all kinds of crazy, ridiculous cars.
Wow. I didn't even know that.
Yeah.
So.
It's gotten pretty upscale around here. Like, there's all kinds of different cars. I've seen McLarens.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. It's been pretty crazy.
Yeah. So, one of my other clients, Rob, he owns Motor City Floors. He invited me to be a vendor at a car show in Novi. Well, he has a lot of connections. So that is one thing I'm looking forward to is finding more people with Porsches, because I know there will be crazy cars there because we're in Novi.
Yes.
So just like I said, finding those people.
That's so cool. How do you? So we talked about kind of that service and taking care of people, and you've talked a lot about the people that have repeat business with you, referrals, going out on social media and posting about you. How do you build that know, like, trust, or we've talked about your work ethic and stuff like that, but let's talk about that a little bit deeper. How do you keep those customers coming back and referring to you?
Well, so I started, I see other people, other detailers in different states doing monthly maintenance plans, keeping their cars up to date because everybody likes a fresh ride, right?
Yep.
So I started doing that. At first, I was like, well, man, everybody I ask is like, no, maybe, I'll just get my car detailed. But I ended up finding people that will actually hop on the maintenance plan. So, like my coach said, so at first on my Instagram page, I had my normal pricing pinned. Then I had my monthly maintenance pinned, and those were the two only things pinned. Well, he told me when I joined, he was like, creating trust and credibility is what you want to do is you want to take your most 3 popular cars you did, like your most 3 exotic cars, pin those 3 to the top. So when you DM people see that you do, more high-end cars.
Yep.
So I did that, and people are like, wow, you do like Audi R8s, like, Roush F-150s, like, just more not daily driven cars.
Yep.
And just, yeah.
It's the advertising, right?
You just gotta know how to advertise, and that's why I wanted to find a mentor. Like, I see all the time, like, well, we'll come into your business, we'll generate you $10,000 for this. Well, I was like, well, I don't know if I want to trust him. I'm 16. Yeah, I could take the risk, but I'd rather take my $1,000 invested in something else. But this guy I found, I seen him all over, great referral. So I tried it out, and like I said, I made my money back in 2 days, and I was like, wow, like just trusting in people that know what they're talking about.
Yeah, that's huge, and being able to take their tools and make them part of what you're doing.
Yeah, he gave me like a whole like Google Docs full of like videos he's made, like just the ways, like he gave me a Google sheet on how to reach out to people, like word for word. He said he's tried them out, like different words, different sayings, different phrases, tried them out, and the Google Docs he gave me is the best word choice that's generated him the most leads without paying any money in ads. So, yeah.
That's huge. So he's selling like his whole framework essentially.
Yeah. I mean, it's just, like I said, at first I didn't trust it, and I trusted it, and it worked out great. It's just, I don't know.
That's huge.
Yeah.
That's cool. What do you, in the off season, do you keep up with your clients and stuff like that? Or how do you?
Last year I didn't have that much. Like I said, I kind of created the monthly maintenance after winter.
Yep.
Getting out of winter. So, this year we'll see. I'm sure I'll have people like drop off their cars, come pick them up, and just, yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's going to definitely be a lot different this winter because I'm looking to, for the winter, since we have salt in Michigan, I'm looking to, how dealerships have that plastic film, kind of like when you buy a new car, it's like under the mats. Well, I'm thinking of taking that and molding it around all the carpets in the car and custom fitting them to help prevent salt from getting on the carpets and ruining the carpet. So I'm gonna ask all my monthly clients if that's good. That's a good thing. So, yeah,
that's killer. It's almost like a field research. Would this be helpful? And then you can sell based off of that.
Right. Yeah. I don't know how it'll go, but like I said, you got to take risks. You
try it out.
Try new things. I have nothing to lose.
Yep.
So,
and that's a problem, right? Like you're solving a problem there.
Right. Yeah. If you can solve a problem like Amazon, if you can make people's lives easier, it's a win-win.
It's a win. Yep. It's solving a problem. That's entrepreneurship. It's being a small business owner. When you're doing it right, you're really solving people's problems.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, just smooth sailing from here. Just gonna keep investing, keep working hard, and not give up.
That's super awesome. So, what does this next year look like?
I don't even know, honestly, yet. I mean, I'm gonna go to high school. Just work at Motor City, see where it takes me. Keep on doing this. I haven't really figured out if this is just going to be like after I'm just going to call it quits or, end up molding into working for my dad or what it may be. But I know I'm definitely not going to want to work for somebody else. I'm going to either want to work for myself or my dad because I know I'll get treated right. I don't want to go work for the union or,
Yeah.
So just, yeah.
Well, and like even with your dad, it's like working for him with like knowing you're going to own it at some point, right? Versus like just going and working.
Yeah, I watched his podcast, so yeah,
Yeah, no, I love how he's, how he's taken his story is so awesome. How you start off as an employee and then just save the business, really.
Yeah. I knew Steve really well. He was really good. To me, my dad, my family, loved the guy. So, he may not have been the best business owner, but loved
Super
the guy.
awesome guy.
So, love Steve. Loves everything my dad has done for me. So, just I get in school, my dad, he works hard, so he's a little bit more wealthier than your average person, right? So I get daddy's money, blah blah blah. Well, I don't see you working your ass off trying to invest into a business. Like I said, you work at like Subways, Culver's. Like, I don't want to hear it from you.
Yep.
So that's something I've had to deal with for a while, but people ask me all the time.
My point is, and I was saying that earlier, is like, you're like, one, you're taking advantage of a good situation. You should do that. Right. Two, you're not going to stay in business just because your dad helped you get started.
Right.
Like, you've got to then go and manage that business. You got to take care of it. They might even give you a chance because they know your dad, but you've got to keep that business going.
Right. Yeah. Like I said, I've tried to, last year I had stories where I just walk out of the classroom to answer phone calls. Like, I'd be like, I tell my teachers, I run a business. I sometimes might have to walk out and answer a phone call. They're all pretty cool about it, but I get those subs that are like, "Where are you going?" "I'm going to answer a phone call." "No, you're not." "Yeah, I am. Watch me." Like, I'm walking out and answer this because, like I said, it's my paycheck calling. So
yeah,
like I said, this school there's great values in school, but there's also like things that they drag on for way too long. Like, math is great, but you don't need to do like geometry, like, all those more advanced maths. Like, yeah, I get it. If you want to go to college to be an engineer or something, yes, but it's not for every student.
Yeah.
Some, like, they've been gearing school more towards working like with computers and stuff. And some kids, they're not, computer savvy. They like to do everything on paper. And I feel like that's just been a struggle for some kids, and that's why they're getting bad grades, and then, so on and so forth.
Well, and it's education is really hard as far as putting together a universal product. So it's not necessarily all their fault, but like, it's one of those things that we're all different, right?
Right.
We all, whether we learn differently, we have different interests, we have different talents and passions and purposes and all that kind of stuff.
Different.
Everybody's different. So try to bring everybody in under an umbrella and teach them all the same thing the same way is it's just difficult. Versus being, when you find somebody like yourself that's able to find a different path, like, it's encouraging that.
Right.
I thought I sucked at math, but I loved sports, and I could sit and like figure out baseball averages. It's like somebody hit a baseball.
I heard that on my dad's podcast.
On your dad's episode. It's like, but nobody ever said, "Hey, this is what you're doing." What you're doing is really business math, and it's percentages, and it's figuring out. Nobody ever said that. They were like telling me I was wasting my time. If they would have saw what I was doing a little bit more, as opposed to like coming to a judgment of what I was doing, they might have figured it out.
Yeah, my most valued thing I think I've learned in business is creating my LLC and learning about insurance. That's something I didn't know about. Service fees for when people pay on my card reader, just general things. And I haven't had any. I don't think I've had any bad customer experience. Other than a lady tried to negotiate my prices. She was like, "Well, I had this other company do it for $150 for interior and exterior. Can you do anything better than $250? No. My prices are my prices. I'm not negotiating." So she ended up going through with it. She loved it. She created a post, referred. I got more clients. So sometimes
it's staying firm.
Yeah, not letting people walk over you.
Yeah.
That's a big thing.
That's absolutely, and it's just staying firm, and this is what it is. And sometimes, like, we'll want business, and as business owners, and what's the word I'm looking for? I guess, like, bow down to our standards, and like, we'll make it happen or do it. And I was telling Rob out there a few minutes ago before we started, I have a guest coming from Arizona in October, and we were talking the other day, or we were talking on the phone, and she's built like this $40 million business, and she's had a lot of success, and so, like, really cool guest. But she was like, "I'm out in Arizona." She was like, "Would you do Zoom or would you do virtual?" And I'm like, "No."
Right.
I really wanted her as a guest, but she was like, will you do Zoom? Like, no. I've made a rule. This is a rule that I made several months ago that in order to be on this show, you have to come and be in the studio no matter where you live.
Right.
It's just the quality of it, right? And so I said that, and she's like, okay, I'll be in Chicago in October. Do you think I could just come up there and we could book something for then? I'm like, yeah. So I booked her in October.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like when you're confident and you're strong with your values and what you're worth, and you say, nope, it's what it is. Like, they'll go with it. They're just trying to push you, especially probably since you're 16, 17, and a kid. They're really trying to push you.
Yeah. I had a lady the other day. I think I had her car for 2 days. It was actually the lady that created the post for me. I had her car originally I was going to do 2 of her cars in 1 day. But with the pet hair being so bad in the Equinox, it took me a lot longer. So she was like, okay, you can have my car for a few days. So I ended up having her car till Sunday. I think I had her scheduled for Thursday. She texted me. She was like, well, you kept saying your car was a top priority, this and that. And I was like, she was like, you just got to make sure that when you talk about things, you actually honor them. And that's something I'm honestly not good at, not honoring my word.
Yeah.
So she gave me the advice, and I was like, wow, that's like that's great. She wasn't being rude or nothing. She was just like trying to help me out. And I was like, wow, that's a big thing. So, like I said, I haven't had any bad customer experiences. Nobody to tell go F myself or nothing like that.
Yep.
So, yeah.
It was a great experience.
Yeah, she helped me out. She made me finally realize it. So that's something I'm definitely going to work on.
That's awesome. That's so cool. I was telling somebody today I had a service that I have, and I rolled it out and I was showing it to somebody, and the guy was like, "Oh, this is awesome. I'll do this." And he was like, "And honestly, you could probably increase these prices like 25%." And I was like, "I love this feedback." And I'm like, increasing prices.
Yeah. Some people gave great feedback.
Yeah. And it's awesome because, again, some people just want to see you succeed.
Right. Yeah. Especially at a young age.
Yes.
People love helping me out, which that's something I'm also grateful for. So
that's killer.
Yeah.
That's so awesome.
So I think I pretty much covered everything on here except how many times I've had to remodel my trailer. I think I've redesigned my trailer 3 times. And this time we kind of sat down and thought about it, me and my dad, make sure my reels were all set up in the right places, just making my life easier because time is money. So I think when I first started out, I'd spend like 5 to 6 hours on my car, but on each car. So once I started doing them more and realized what equipment I needed and spending my time more wisely and, not staying on so much things in one spot in one car. Like sometimes you just can't, there's only so much you can do in a car. And you gotta tell your customers that there's only so much I can do. And then if it ends up coming out, it's better for you. And the customer's like, wow, that came out. You said it wouldn't come out, So just creating
under promise, over deliver.
Yep, exactly. So
it's such a difference in oh yeah, no problem, I can get this out, and then going back and being like, oh, we couldn't get it out, versus it's gonna be tough. I'll do what I can. Right.
Yeah. I've had that numerous times in my business where I tell people like, yeah, I may not be able to get it out, and then it ends up coming out. Why you got it out? Yeah. So.
And then you're pumped up like, hey, look at this, I got it out.
Right.
It's like
Yeah. So I think when people start like I've had tons of people ask me how I've started my business, and just getting family and friends to post and help you out, contacting everybody. People always ask me, well, when you first started out, did you do it for free? No, I didn't do it for free. Your time is money. Even if you're making $50, it's better than making nothing and doing it for free. Because then they refer, well, oh, this guy did it for free. Oh, well, I'm gonna go get it done for free. So,
yep.
Yeah.
And there's only so long you can do it for free, though. There's only so long you would have been able to do it for $50.
Right.
You would have been broke before you know it.
Yeah. So it would have taken me forever to pay that $2,000 and registering my LLC. So just knowing what I'm worth was another big
lot of hours of cleaning.
Cleaning. Sometimes cars can be a pain. Like I think I did this lady's car the other day. She had 7 kids. Honda Pilot, absolutely caked everywhere. It took me 6 hours. I only charged her $400. I was like, man, I'm losing my ass on this job. But I was like, I put a Bible quote in my trailer. I wrote it down and put it in and my trailer to make sure that when I end up struggling, because some cars are like the carpets in them are terrible, like, stains won't come out, all that. Just make sure to not give up. So, yeah.
What's the quote?
I think it's Proverbs. Oh God, I forgot it. It's Proverbs something. It talks about the lazy man. I'd have to look it up, but I forgot it.
That's awesome. That's so cool though.
Yeah, people ask me, "Well, I love your setup, but why do you have a Bible quote in there?" So I don't give up. So
that's killer.
Yeah, that's
awesome. Like, you gotta have that motivation.
Yeah, sometimes it's a mental strength. We call the trunk carpets impossible carpets because they're that hard carpet, so it's like really thin carpet.
Yep.
And you always put stuff in trunks, so like it gets dirty really easily. So that definitely tests mental strengths. So, yeah,
that's awesome. The things you don't think about going in, like it's that one right there.
Pet hair is also a big thing.
Oh, I can imagine.
Just, it's so fine, so it just weaves its way into the carpet, and then it's never always going one way. So when a piece of hair falls, you got one going this way, and then you got one going this way. So you have to go back and forth, every angle.
Oh,
so
my God.
Yeah. I charge more on that service. I charge $55 extra because, it's something you have to spend more time on.
Yeah.
So people ask me all the time, well, my other detailer I got done did it for $120. Well, I'm not your other detailer. Like, I always tell customers, I charge $70 for my basic wash on the exterior. I spend about 10 to 15 minutes on each wheel. I'm not your just average car wash where I run it through, scratch your paint, and then just spray some fake tire shine on it.
Yeah.
So, just telling people and making sure they understand what your service is and how much, they're really worth, like what they can actually get out of your services. That's definitely helped me close more deals.
How many, how often do you get told no?
I think that lady with the horse trailer told me no. It's just, you're not always going to win.
No, I know. Yeah.
So, I think I get told, I probably say 2 times out of 5.
Okay.
So,
yeah,
just, I usually don't take no for an answer. So when somebody tells me no, I, work with them. Well, what were you looking to get done? What services were you more focused on? Like, I had a lady, yesterday call me, well, I want my inside and outside my truck done. Well, my husband put new tires and new rims on it, so I don't think we need the exterior. Well, she was like, well, we'll just cancel it whole. I'm like, well, what about the interior? She was like, what about it? I was like, you said you want to get the interior done. Wasn't that your main focus? Well, yeah. Well, then, I'll do it for you. I'll hook you up.
Yeah.
So I did that, and I ended up closing that deal. So it's just, I watch TikToks all the time. There's this guy, I don't know his name. I forgot his name. He goes around interviewing business owners and people around like Houston, Florida.
Okay.
And there was one guy that said, what's the difference? I think he was a financial advisor. And he was like, what's the difference between a millionaire and a billionaire? And he was like, billionaires don't take no for an answer. That's something, like I said, that stuck with me. I don't take no for an answer.
Yep.
I always find a way to close a deal. So
that's awesome. Yeah, that's awesome. Like, I love how you're able to then take some services off or be able to come back and be like, well, what about that interior? Right. Like, again, asking that question.
Yeah, if you get told no, then you get told no. It's not going to hurt to ask. Like, I've walked into many businesses asking if they are looking for a detailer. Like, I walked into dealerships that offer detailing in-house.
Yeah.
It's not going to hurt if you ask. So just take the risk. You're not going to lose anything. Even if they say no, who cares?
Who cares?
They don't know you.
No. They don't know you. They're not thinking about you after you leave.
Exactly.
You'll walk in there next week and they won't remember that you were there the week before.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
It's one of those things, like, we put so much thought sometimes and fear into like what people think of us, and people don't think of us. They think of themselves.
Right.
Which we all do.
Right. Yeah, exactly. So just taking risks and just moving forward. I think I walked into a business. And it was actually last week. It was down in Wixom. I drove by on my way to my girlfriend's house. There was a rapid orange C8 sitting outside every day. So I ended up going in there, and it was weird. So the business had like a separate office, and then it had like a buzz-in. And you could see the front desk, and the lady answered the buzz-in. She was like, "What are you here for?" And I was like, "Oh, I was just seeing who drove that orange C8. I wanted to talk to him. I run a detailing business. Well, I could just take your business card. He's in lunch right now." And I was like, "Okay, well, I understand." I was like, "Well, let me just go talk to him for 5 seconds." So while he was at lunch, I walked in there and talked to him while he was in front of everybody, because he was the owner of the place. So I talked to him, and I ended up giving him a business card. And he said, "How old are you?" I was like, 17. And he was like, I'll make sure I call you." So it's just like, you don't have anything to lose if you just go forward.
Man, that's a mic drop moment right there. That's awesome. Like going in, like against so many people fear doing that.
Yeah. Another big thing I learned is when you end up calling somebody rather than text, you learn how to talk to people. That's a big thing. You need to know how to talk to people to be able to close deals. So, like all of my new clients, I get their phone number, ask for their name, get their phone number right away. I don't even bother. I sometimes will set up text in order to get their phone number, because everybody won't respond the same way.
Yeah.
But just getting them on the phone and talking to them the proper way, and always trying to make connections with them. That's a big thing. Trust and credibility. I can't emphasize that enough. That's a big thing.
It's 5,000%. It's everything.
Yeah.
There's so many auto detailers, and you could do a great job, but how do you get in the door?
Right. Exactly. So,
It's the trust and the credibility that you build, that communication, that level of communication, and that is really, I talk about being the difference a lot, and it really comes down into that communication piece. When you make it easy for people, you talked about that earlier, making it easy for people. When you make things easy for people, you'll win, no matter how saturated the market is.
Right. Yeah. A friend of mine, he actually asked me business questions because he's wanting to start a window cleaning business. And, window cleaning is really, the market is really saturated for window cleaning, and, lawn care is a big, big one.
Yep.
So I told him, I was like, you have to stand out and be able to find something about window cleaning that you'll do that not much people do, just because the market's so saturated.
Yep.
That's something I had to figure out my own, finding my target audience.
Yep.
So he's going to be watching this. He was like, I'll make sure I watch it. So I think he'll be happy that I,
shout him out.
Yeah. His name's Sean Turpin. I've known him since I moved to Howell. Really great friend, really good guy. So
super awesome. Super good stuff, man. And if he's listening, he's getting I hope he's taking notes.
Right. Pen and paper.
Get the pen and paper, Sean.
So yeah. I don't know. It's just.
This has been awesome, man. And you've dropped, like I said, I've had to go back, and I know there's several that I've missed. You've dropped so many gold nuggets of things that I hear grown adults that have had businesses for years say that they struggle with. And so it's so awesome to hear you like going out and not being afraid to fail.
Yeah, I'm in a Discord group with I think it's 10,000 people wanting to start a detailing business. People that own shops in different states. People always ask how much I charge this? We'll charge how much you're worth. How much experience do you really have? Well, I just started. Then charge accordingly. Don't undercharge. Don't overcharge.
Yep.
And that group has definitely helped my business a ton. Just learning from other people, like I said, equipment, chemicals, business.
Yep.
So yeah.
It's killer. Learning from other people. It's
Right.
where it's at.
Yeah.
People are our greatest resources. Last thing I wanted to hit is you talked about social media. We've talked about it quite a bit, but earlier you were talking about how it's ruined your generation really. And I think a lot of what you say is true, because people are using it. It's like if we drink too much water, we'll die. Like I saw a sign at the Brighton Taste of Brighton Festival, like somebody had in their booth that said everything will kill you, and it's like literally everything will kill you, and if you do it in too much abundance, right?
Right.
Social media will kill us in a degree. A long, slow death. We'll miss all these opportunities. We'll ruins life. There's so many different bad things that can happen. But it's also a great resource.
It's the greatest resource.
It's an amazing tool when you use it right.
Yeah.
And it sounds like you're using it.
Most definitely.
Right.
My biggest thing I have to learn right now is my SEO.
Yeah.
That's complicated, but it's something I have to learn if I want to take my business to the next level to find more customers.
Yep.
So I've ran paid ads. I've tried it out, but right now I'm just going off of referrals.
That's where it's at.
Referrals are like the biggest thing in detailing. I was like, or even in any business, referrals help out so
5,000%.
much.
Yep.
So
It's also the leading indicator that you're doing a good job.
right. Yeah. I've had other people tell me that they've had people leave bad reviews. I tell them, like, you just got to keep going. Bad reviews are killer.
Yeah.
Like, they will kill you. They will drag you through the mud. And,
Yep.
Garrett Auto and Truck Service doesn't have their best reviews, but I know my dad does good work. I know he does great work.
Yep.
So people, like, referrals, if you have 5 referrals and you have 1 bad review, you have 4 referrals and no bad reviews. So, I mean,
it's huge.
yeah.
With those bad reviews sometimes too, like you can go back and be like almost like, especially if you're younger, like have that, like, hey, what could I have done better?
Right.
What could I did to, like, and then, like, if you have that conversation, because it's more of a call than a message or a back and forth. But if you called that person and had a conversation and then at the end say, hey, would you mind editing that review?
Right. Yeah, most definitely. My dad has some crazy people call him, like, just arguing, yelling, and my dad's like people try to negotiate my dad's hourly rate all the time. Yeah. And he's like, there's not much I can do. Yep. And they're like, well, I'm gonna go write a bad review. And he's to the point where he's like, just go write a bad review. He's like, it's like, I'm not losing money. I'm just gonna take the bad review. I'm not losing money because I have people to pay. I have to, make revenue. Yeah. So it's just like there's some crazy people that call him, and like, we talked about some of it. He has it bad. I'm like kind of smooth sailing right now. He has it bad. Yeah. Well, keep doing what you're doing, man. Because there's a lot of what you're doing is creating those experiences. Yeah. So. Man, this has been awesome, man. Thank you so much for coming on. Absolutely, my pleasure.